What's up, everyone? It is 4:31 on this Friday evening. I still want to deliver this for the record podcast for you. Sort of supposed to be a week in review. It's going to be a little shorter one than I had hoped, but hey, it's going to be delivered. And here it is. I'm 7 News political analyst Justin Allen Rose. So this is for the record. In the future, this will be a much longer podcast, but it's been a busy day, which is good for me. I love busy days, but let's go ahead and get into it and look at the two top stories so far for this week in Oklahoma politics. And so you see that I'm sharing my screen. On this story, A.G. Drummond, Attorney General Gittner Drummond, asked the SCOTUS, or Supreme Court of the United States, to take action to preserve Oklahoma school religious freedom. Now, this was delivered earlier this week on the 10th. It says, in a bid to preserve Oklahomans' religious freedoms, Attorney General Gittner Drummond is asking the Supreme Court to take action against a proposed state-sponsored religious school. The matter concerns the controversial Catholic charter school St. Isidore, which will be the first ever, not only here in Oklahoma, but in the entire nation, the first taxpayer-funded religious school. This is huge. It has huge ramifications, not only here in Oklahoma, but throughout the whole United States. Now, this is a saga that has been going on for such a long time. Earlier this year, I did this report. You can see by that timestamp, June 26, 2024, earlier this year, a breakdown of the Oklahoma Supreme Court ruling against this publicly funded religious charter school. Again, this would be the very first in the nation. And what's interesting about this case is that we see some infighting within the Republican Party. Whenever there's infighting within a political party, the political party trying to determine which way, or the political actors within that political party trying to determine which way the party should move, that's when the fun starts to begin. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt and even Ryan Walters really supporting this St. Isidore, saying this is actually going to be in support of religious freedom, allowing for those of this religion to be able to go to the school on taxpayer dollars. Oklahoma Attorney General Gittner Drummond says the complete opposite, and he actually petitioned this lawsuit, which right here, it says right here, Oklahoma Attorney General Gittner Drummond petitioned the lawsuit, which was looked at as another battle between himself and Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt, who, of course, was in favor of this contract between the Oklahoma State Board and Catholic charter school. Here's what Drummond had to say on it. It said, quote, while I understand that the governor and other politicians are disappointed with this outcome, I hope that the people of Oklahoma can rejoice that they will not be compelled to fund radical religious schools that violate their faith. Now, Kevin Stitt, of course, complete opposite view. And here's what he said in a statement. Religious freedom is foundational to our values, and today's decision undermines that freedom and restricts the choices available to Oklahomans. Again, this was Stitt in a statement. He said, quote, I'm disappointed by A.G. Drummond's attack on religious liberty and the school choice movement, but I remain hopeful that the United States Supreme Court will hear the case and grant St. Isidore the right to establish their school. So again, right here, it says, but I remain hopeful that the U.S. Supreme Court will hear this case. While the Oklahoma Supreme Court took it down, said, no, this is unconstitutional, both from a federal standpoint and from a state standpoint. Stitt wants the Supreme Court to hear it because he is hoping this conservative Supreme Court in the United States will rule in favor of this publicly funded, will be the first ever publicly funded religious charter school in America. But this news that we got here, again, Drummond is asking the Supreme Court not to review the case whatsoever. Again, not even saying rule against it. He's saying, I don't even want you to hear this case. Saying he wants the Supreme Court to deny certiorari. If they grant certiorari, basically, they said they're going to hear this case, and they might reverse course on what the Oklahoma Supreme Court has said. But again, I'm not saying whether or not this is constitutional or unconstitutional. That's for the courts to decide, and that's for you all to decide too, the viewer, the listener to this podcast. What I am most interested in is this infighting within the Republican Party, and how is this going to look in 2026 and just over nearly, less than 2 years now, about 1 year and 3/4. What's going to happen? Or even earlier than that, if we want to look at the Republican primary for this governorship. what's going to happen. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. The only other news that really, sorry for that, thought someone knocked on my door, but let's keep this podcast rolling. The other news that I want to bring you all is this blending of federal policy that we probably are going to see under Trump moving into Oklahoma. We're seeing a whole lot of Oklahoma politicians piggybacking off of policies being implemented or being said that they're going to be implemented at the federal level under this new Trump administration. And part of that is right here, the efficiency portal to transparency portal. So it's based in the Oklahoma House of Representatives, and they're adding this new thing. The government efficiency portal, they say, aims to cut down on duplicate or redundant services in the state government. If you're asking how does this mirror federal policy that we might see under the Trump administration, well, it's right here. It said it was established in coordination with the recently created Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, which of course is going to be run by Elon Musk, CEO of X, and all those other things that he's a part of. And so it's going to be interesting because this is not the only thing we're seeing. If you want to take a look real quick and just see what this portal looks like, and I also find very interesting as well, you have to put your first name, your last name, your age, your address, the city, county, the policy area that it pertains to, and also leave the comment to let us know a little bit more about it. I wonder if this is going to keep people from actually inputting data within this submission portal, because I would assume it would be a lot of conservative members of the community adding things into this or trying to get things taken down that they believe is redundant. That is more of a conservative avenue, I would say, at least on the front end of it. And so because of that, I would say those same individuals are a little bit worried about giving information, especially to government, even as the Oklahoma government, they're a little bit worried about giving their information out. And so if I have to give my first name, last name, age, address, and to say, hey, here's my name, here's my address, here's how you can find me. And plus, I think that department should go away completely. I think people might be a little bit apprehensive about that, especially in this era that we're living in now. Be interesting to see how well this sort of system works. But this isn't the only thing that we're seeing really piggybacking off of this, what could be under the Trump administration. We have Operation Guardian under Kevin Stitt, which I brought to you, I believe, in an earlier podcast I talked about briefly, about how he is saying once the new Trump administration gets in and all those mass deportation begin, he's saying, hey, we're going to be in the front of the line, allowing you to take the prisoners within our jails, within our justice system, that are behind bars, that are illegal immigrants, taking them and allow you to deport them easily. So I would assume we're going to keep seeing. We're going to keep seeing these sorts of policies being implemented right here in Oklahoma because, hey, the Republican Party won the big national prize, the presidency. And it seems like, at least in the image-wise, that the Republican Party is in control right now, and they're not looking back. They're not slowing down. And we can expect the same thing, I would assume, right here in Oklahoma. That will do it. It's around 4:40 right now. Again, very busy day, but I love busy days. If you want anything covered on this podcast, let me know. Reach out, email justin.rose@kswo.com. And always reach me on X, JA Rose Reports on X. And then you can easily just search my name, Justin Allen Rose, on Facebook, and you should be able to find my page. Feel free to send me a message on there. I love to talk politics. But that would do it. I'm your 7 News host, Justin Allen Rose, and this has been For the Record.